Warning! The Concerned Citizen podcasts are not recorded live. All guests are over 18 with a few exceptions. No animals were harmed physically during the recording of said podcast. Host and guests remain fully clothed during the session. The Concerned Citizens podcast is not responsible for loss of hearing, teenage pregnancy, blood clots, severe to really severe headaches, erections lasting up to and over 4 hours, shattered faith, destroyed dreams, and general butthurtedness, or anything disabling. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Oh my God, Rob, you're so professional. I knew that's why we should do this together. Oh my God, episode 2, podcast time. What's going on, guys? It is the Concerned Citizens podcast. I'm Daryl with the ever lovely Rob. Rob.
I am pretty lovely.
You are, man. You know, it's great. I didn't think we'd get here.
It is very
I didn't think we had it in us, man, to really...
2 episodes. This is the actual special anniversary episode.
Yeah, and
of our first episode.
And just the mail that's been pouring in. People actually sent us video confessionals, just like confessing their love for us in the show. And
not all clothed.
We want to do it here. We want to keep the dungeon like a home base, but when we're getting these offers to go to like other countries and stuff to do this podcast,
we're trying to keep it modest.
We want to be modest, but the money they're offering, pretty nice.
Well, it's kind of right on the piece of paper.
We did talk that this wouldn't be the last place we do these at.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we'll just chat about that later. Seriously, a lot's been going on. I wanna kick things off just with some stuff, dude. It's February already, and January was a pretty intense month for me. It was. I
feel like for everyone.
I think so.
How is it not an intense month for everyone?
Because I'm from Connecticut, and I'm used to just cold as shit the whole time, and that's it. Just suck it up, deal with it. And here, everything's been so weird. The weather's just constantly crazy, and I think just like, I don't know, it was kicking my ass. January was a little rough. So, how was it for you? Feel the same way? Were things a little...
January just went by too quick, because I had all these plans. You make all these plans. You're like, all right, I'm going to do this shit, do this, and this, and it's going to be done probably in January. You make these plans back in December. You're like, oh yeah, that'll be done before February. Exactly. For sure.
Yeah.
It's February 8th or 9th?
I think it's the 9th right now. It's so weird. Oh my God, time's passing by. We are joined with Will Jones. Will Jones.
Mother effing fucking Jones.
Is our special co-host.
I guess you could say that.
Welcome,
no doubt.
welcome to our station. Welcome to our
thank you for having me.
Yeah. I guess was it hard to find? Was it hard to find? Did you get here
okay? Dungeon.
It is in the depths, but I did.
You've been here before.
Yeah,
it's
there
fine.
You go. Yeah,
they know.
I came from,
they know. We can't fool our fans, bro. We can't fool them.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, man? How'd you feel for January? What did it do to you?
Man, I'm still in that state of mind. I can't believe it's already passed. And we're already like almost halfway through February, but yeah, man, just doing a lot of projects right now, both freelance, finishing up grad school. The calendar's pretty full these days,
right?
But yeah, just sticking in there, man. I tend to find the spring to be a really good month for getting creative energy and everything.
It makes gives everyone like a sense of rebirth. It's like everyone sees things coming back to life. So I think it like kind of brings that whole kind of feel to everybody, and hopefully like lingers and carries on from one person to another.
You got that
that sense of exactly. That optimism is definitely.
So, you're at grad school over here, UNCG?
Yeah, UNCG. Yeah. I'm in the library program, grad school. My undergraduate degree is in film, and I still do a lot of film. That's like kind of like my side job, I guess you could say.
So yeah, I mean, you're doing the independent film right now,
and
you're also doing. Of course, we had Jen Hasty on last week.
Yeah,
you might be familiar with her work.
Oh, no doubt.
And you are the director of the media for Amplifier. So how's everything going with that, man? You doing cool?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I'm so blessed to work with the team that that Jen leads and everyone in the Amplifier family. I mean, it's honestly one of the best team I've ever worked with of artists and just people of, that have boundless energy and creativity. And I have to say it's been like a true honor, and it's been amazing to help contribute to this local scene, this local art, not just in Greensboro, as North Carolina as a whole. Or, we've covered so much interesting things, not just in music, but just in arts and culture in general. And it's been really great to be a part of that and to help on the media end and to do, work with so many artists and do so many videos. It's been great to actually capture this moment right now, and it'll be something that we can all look back at and still I
remember meeting you, man, and then it's like an infection almost, like how beautiful everybody here is, and the crew that everyone's around, especially with Amplifier. Like you said, that you meet a couple people, then next thing you know, you meet a couple more, and then start seeing you more at parties and out and about, and then there you're a part of the team and a part of the team, part of the shit, part of the crew.
Yeah, so to speak.
You know what I mean? It's just a real beautiful thing, and I do, and that's why kicking off the first episode with Jen was so important to us, because we live here, we drink here, we go out and see shows here, some of us play shows here. We want to be out there with the best people, and I love North Carolina. I've been being from the north and being down here for a bit, but I'm talking in general. The whole state offers a lot of interesting stuff. It may not be always the best stuff, but there's a lot of interesting shit to go through, depending on what you call interesting. So,
what are you considering the best stuff? The best of the best.
Ringling Brothers just came through.
Oh yeah,
they're right there. I'm pointing they're right over there right now.
We have Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey parked outside our house.
Yeah, dude.
The train is literally parked outside our house.
And every time they come through here, man, there's always people. They've always brought up about animals, the animal abuse and stuff going on.
Well, my idea was I wanted to grab some of the I'm not going to call them that. Some of the working.
I think they knew what you were going to say, though. I think they knew what you were going to say.
The working circus professionals, and then the working PETA professionals who are out there just protesting all day. I really wanted to trick both parties into coming and being on this podcast, but
oh man,
the problem with the Ringling Brothers guys, they're all shut-ins.
Very true.
It's their own culture over there.
Yeah, man. We drive around over here, and it's some of them have kids, so you'll see some baby carriages at some doors.
It's got something going on. There's cars parked out.
Yeah,
but there's delivery drivers for as far as the eye can see down this stretch of train track. It's just delivery drivers at all hours just pouring out of these cars trying to find whoever ordered it from which car of the train.
Yeah, which. Yes, they just park and they try calling them, no one answers. Well, I guess I'll start here. And then, 2 hours go by and they're finally down at the end.
Yeah.
And it's where all the animals are, and they didn't order pizza. They might have. They trained them to do some stuff, so who knows? The thing is, when you get out of a bar, at least for me, and I'm and I'm home, and I'm man, I want to walk around a little bit. It's nice out. Oh, there's a train track over here.
The circus.
The circus is right fucking there. They're right there. And you think at 3 in the morning,
the Ringling Brothers,
you could go over there and be yo, they gotta be just chilling, right?
But
they gotta
they're
be hanging
not.
out, but they're not. They're not. And then I go to a bar and they're dude, 20 of the Ringling Brothers people. That's how my friends talk.
Yeah.
Dude, 20 of them were just here, man. And I was wow, friend, you sounds crazy.
They get all shuttle busted.
Yeah, man, they just take a fucking shuttle and
downtown,
move. It's crazy, man. I want to talk to them.
They have a buddy system, I'm pretty sure. So
yes, this is probably true. Shows and stuff, man. I've been really excited about lately. A lot of cool stuff's been
going on. Things are starting to really heat up, man. There was that definite slumber, in January-ish kind of around here and just in general. But man, coming up February, March, throughout April even, just on a local and just all the national touring stuff that's coming.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing. There's a lot of good local stuff, and of course we want to cover that as well. And I want to take a quick second, guys. If you're in a band or you know a band that is doing some stuff around here, you have some shows coming up or anything going on, hit us up. We have a Facebook page. Just search for us. It's the Concerned Citizens. You can also follow us on Instagram as well, same title. And our email is just concernedcitizenspodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, and our password.
Oh, no,
keep going.
Our coupon? Our coops? Oh, that's a Danny Cook thing. I'm sorry. I went there.
God, are you serious?
He's so funny.
He is a little funny.
Send us your stuff. Let us know what's going on, and we'll definitely promote it over the air. We wanted to talk about a few things that happened on Saturday here at the Dungeon. was the first art gallery showing we did. It was for Spencer.
Which was
we talked about it.
Legit. Yeah.
It was really awesome, man. It was great to see. You know, when you have a good group of friends and they're there for you for everything, and they come out and they want to like be there and show their support. And that they believe in your work. They're not just there because they are like, well, we could stop by Spencer's and then we could go to Jake's, and and like you fit it in like it's just another thing to do. Like the people that were here wanted to be here and wanted to support and wanted to be a part of it. And we had like about 40 or so, maybe 50 people here. And it was really great. Spencer raised, I think, about $300 or so.
That's great.
And it was nice. It worked out really well, and I think there's going to be a lot more of that to come. Not only just maybe one solo artist feature, but we're going to try to get other artists too. And that leaves room. Like, everybody, like, email us. If you have something going on and you're doing painting, spoken word, there's anything going on that you want to talk about or you feel like is interesting enough for our bearded selves, then please send it our way and we'll check it out.
Or we won't.
You won't hear about it. We're dicks. On the 20th of February coming up over at Shiners, this band called the Riverettes. They're from Asheville. My band, Bear the Traveler, we were very lucky to get a chance to meet them when we were in California. And they're great musicians. You check them out on Facebook. They're going on the road, and we want to give them a great night. So if you can get out to there on Shiners, it's in Greensboro. Information's on our Facebook. Just check Bear the Traveler, and really check these guys out. They're awesome, and we want to try to get as many people there to support them. So if you can get out to that, it'd be awesome. Also on, I believe, the 20th, same date, so you can go to that too. It's fun, baby. Magpie Thief EP release show is happening at the Blind Tiger.
Say that one more time.
It's the Magpie Thief EP release.
Nice.
And it's Magpie Thief. Magpie Thief is, I believe, Matty, a beautiful gentleman who runs the open mics at NYP. And this is his project, and they're doing a show there at the Blind Tiger that night as well. So definitely go check him out. He's one of the nicest dudes. Also coming up February 21st, which we talked about last week, will be the Amplifier Boone show. It's the first show away from Greensboro. It's going to feature Weathered, Earth Mover, E.T. Anderson, and I believe Infidel. Is that how you say it? Ivadel.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I've been drinking.
That is going to be a sick show.
Seriously, if you're in Boone, I know there's at least like one or two people from Boone.
If
anyone's
listening to Boone, I want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going. It's just I got to be there, and I think it's going to be amazing. I want to make sure this is a big event for Amplifier, man.
Oh, so, definitely. I mean, you got Earth Mover, who's really coming up. I mean, they're starting to get like some national coverage even in a few places. Like, their music's incredible. Ivadale, that EP they dropped is amazing.
Well, it's a good feeling to see that Amplifier can maybe do now like a Raleigh showcase or a Wilmington showcase, because there was affiliates growing all around. So, excuse me, if Amplifier could just keep doing that and now keep moving around like that, that's just incredible. And why not kick it off in Boone? Like, it just seems beautiful. Like, it's a good spot to really get both cultures like mixed. So I'm really excited about that show. Some of the mainstream, some of the bigger, I hate to use the word mainstream, but the bigger bands and stuff that are coming through, Cursive. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. And who's opening up for them?
My god.
I forgot.
I forgot their name. I just saw them.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
I drooled.
Because the opener for that is
drooled a lot.
Intense.
They're playing...
Beach Slang. It's Beach Slang. Yeah.
Okay, I've never listened to them.
Oh yeah, they're great. They're signed to Tiny Engines.
Okay.
Who's that record label that's partially ran out of Charlotte, I believe. Hoteliers on it, and a few other bands. I'm trying to think right now. Can't think off the top of my head.
No, that's fine, man. It's gonna be
it's just kind of chilled, indie-ish, a little bit of like '90s like college rock influence as well, but it's real chill stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be March 5th, I believe, at Cat's Cradle. Another band that is coming through, which I'm very much a fan of as well. Murder by Death is playing and in Durham, I believe, at the Motorco Music Hall, and that's going to be March 8th. If you guys haven't checked out Murder by Death, check out Murder by Death. I've seen them 3 times. They just did 2 nights sold out at the hotel where Shining was filmed, and they did a huge black and white photo. It was a dressed up. It was a formal event, and they took this huge group photo in the big balls, just like they did for it.
Wow.
an amazing band. Talk to them. They're the
great. I haven't
nicest
listened to them in a second. I mean, it's been a minute. But
they have a lot of albums, man. They're just the growth of them. Yeah, man. They definitely they're killing it. Check them out if you can. He's Legend is playing, I believe, on the 12th. Right? Yeah, I believe at the same spot, the Motorco Music Hall.
Yeah, I've seen a few of my favorite artists like coming through, and they're playing Raleigh. And then I've seen this Motorco place, but this is the first time I've heard.
Yeah, I've never been there at all. Have you heard of that spot over in that area, man? Or no?
I can't say. I don't know.
I don't get to Raleigh too much for shows.
I know, man.
Yeah, same.
The brewery was a really amazing spot. If you guys remember, it was just beautiful, and now it's a fucking parking lot. And they got some new stuff and new places that they're trying to build shows up there now, and I think that's great. It's just it's a whole different ballgame.
If you aren't familiar with the brewery, then watch American Hardcore. It's a documentary about literally that, but they talk about the brewery. And, I mean, it was a staple. It really was. It was a stop on everyone's tour back in the day. Every band you could think of that you probably love.
It was so. They had bands like, I mean, His Legend played there, Dredge played there.
Dude, there's not...
Chariot played
there. You can't even start listing the bands.
That's all I could do at the moment. But, like, if you've been to the brewery and you knew what it was and you knew the room and the sizing...
if you haven't seen it, then right now you're probably imagining something way bigger than what it actually is.
Very true.
You know? But it's a super humble little thing with, like, this... what do you want to say? Like, triangle, like... stage in the corner of the venue and catty cornered, and but you know, I mean, still it's a great venue for like any band. You know, I don't care how big you are. Like if you can't downsize to play at the brewery, like you had to at that.
All
point,
the bands
you know
came through, man. It was always good. It was a good staple for local bands, and like you said, national bands played this little spot and just tore it up, and it was incredible. Also.
Oh, did you hear? It just got announced yesterday. I think in April, Full of Hell's coming through with the Body at the Crown.
I just heard.
Yeah,
Caleb told me about that, and
that
sounds awesome. I was not aware of them.
Yeah.
And I checked them out yesterday, and I thought they were sick. So I'd love to. And the Crown is a great spot too, right here in Greensboro. They had a couple shows over there. I haven't heard much lately about shows happening there. Have they still been doing as much music, or is this like one of the first shows back for the Crown?
They've been doing a few small things here and there. I mean, I know they're doing something coming up. Hold on, let me look.
While you're looking that up, man, I wanted to also just bring up the last show. I believe it's March 16th. Circa Survive. Man, they've been around for a minute, regardless of everything or where you sit with Circa Survive. Anybody, it's like Anthony Green. You know, that first Seosin EP, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, and then like to now, and like just the insanity of where that man's mind has gone and where it's taken him. They're playing with Chan and Balancing Composure. Yeah, that's gonna be
which
beautiful.
That in itself, I mean, you could just go see Balancing Composure and be
fine. Yeah, I would pay just to see them. But it's a great lineup, and it's gonna be at the Lincoln, I believe, on March 16th. So that's a little bit about shows. Rob, I really think me and you should start like a Kill Whitney Dead type of band, but we don't do samples from a bunch of movies. We just do American Dad samples, and then we just keep playing that type of music. But we pick American Dad samples.
American Dadcore only.
I want our fan base to know how much we truly love that cartoon.
It's such a special relationship that we share.
It's deep. It's very deep.
When I moved in here, we kind of like, I don't know if you saw it, but my eyes just glazed over when like we found out, you know. I don't know. I can't pinpoint the exact moment, but we kind of maybe.
Rob's tearing up right now. It's so gay.
I can attest to this.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too.
Right
I think we
dude, go ahead, keep talking, baby. Keep telling me.
We quoted like a Roger. We did a Roger quote at like the same time. You know, finished it at the same time, and I think we just looked at each other and had that.
That we knew that this. Yeah, we knew that we
this
could, like,
cartoon
build off of that
for sure.
We might start doing. We might start doing segments mainly because we don't care and we love the show, and I think other people will enjoy it. Where if like we play a little snippet from American Dad, and then if the first person who sends us an email saying the episode and the title and whatnot, we'll do a little something special for them or whatnot. And you know, something special could be anything. Really, we could talk about that off.
It could be $1 million.
It could be money.
It could be our signed underwear that we're wearing right now.
Yeah, that's another thing we wanted to start doing. Like, and we could get all our guests to donate the underwear from their podcast, and then we have them sign it and just
users, I hear you.
I mean, and that's a good. It's just We just want. It's about everybody. It's about the fans.
Yeah, for sure.
It's about the kids.
They like memorabilia, and that means so for real. Don't laugh.
It is a merch-driven world these days.
February's here. Look at that. See that segue. You see that, dude? Knowledge right here. February is here. What's going on? What do you have planned, Rob? You have some music going on.
For February, Friday the 13th, which is this Friday coming up, my band Endling, Endling, we are a new band from Greensboro, but we're having our first show at the Blind Tiger.
Nice.
With some really awesome bands from Greensboro, except for one of them. But In Waves is an awesome band here from Greensboro.
They've been around for a sec, and this is their CD release, I believe, right?
Yeah, and they've been writing a full length for... I mean, they've been writing it for... I'm sure they've been writing it for 2 years now, but they've been in and out of the studio for about the past year, and I've kind of watched that process because we have the same producer, but... been watching that process and how hard they've worked, and like the material that they're about to come out with is really awesome. I mean, it's something that is not anywhere around here. Like, there's no other bands around here making like...
Yeah, man. Some bands can spit out some stuff and they go in and do it. It's like when you... And teach their own and how you write and how it goes. But like when you see a band too, it's life. Everybody has their own shit going on, relationships, jobs, all this. And if you can make it work and still find that pocket of your sanctuary, you know, which is writing and music and stuff, as stressful as it gets, it's still very worth it. So to see those guys like finally, you know, they got it here, they got it together to present, and to see like a CD release happening there, I think it's going to go really well.
Yeah, they're definitely, you know, perfectionists, and rightfully so. I mean, their stuff's great, but yeah, they've been working on a full length for a really long time, and that is about to drop, and their release show is this weekend. You probably will be listening to this after the fact.
This is live! No, it ain't!
But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say it went great, guys. Or I fucked up, but it was awesome.
You want to record a couple of different ones and we can just pick the one? Like,
yeah,
okay. All right, so Rob, how was that show, dude? You played last week.
Dude, it was fucking great. I killed it. Like, my band killed it. All the bands killed it. And In Waves, they just, you know...
Slammed it home?
Yeah. Like
God, dude, I wish I could have been there. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. It was a great.
I knew about it, and I had, like... we, as you can tell, we do live very far from the Blind Tiger, so it was a ride issue. I just couldn't get there. But that's great to hear that it went well, man. I'm proud of you. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Dude, you played last week. How did your show go?
Dude, I mean, honestly, man, like, I fucked up a lot, but there was just no one there, which sucked. Well, everyone from our band, all of our parents showed up, but, so that was like 5, we sold 5 tickets, so we brought 5 people out.
And that's not bad, because the Blind Tiger fits, I think 600, so, I mean, that's not bad, right? I mean, you had 5 people there watching.
Well, it was our first show.
Yeah, and the other band's first shows, too? Anyway, we're going to talk to... All right, good. I like this. Excellent. We got 2 good ones. Good.
Yeah.
Last night, you know, we actually won an award for Best New Podcast, but before I was able to get it, Kanye came up and grabbed it and ran off. And I was like, dude, now that's how you segue into the Grammy bit. Rob... Okay, I need to know what happened last night, and Will and I would love to hear your rundown of the Grammys.
I'm going to give you my rundown, but here's the thing: it's going to be the shittiest Grammy rundown that you received.
We are ready.
Because for one, we don't have cable, so I did not watch the Grammys.
we're just on our game. We did the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, let me just start with that. I read 2 articles this morning about the Grammys, so I'm fit to give the Grammys rundown.
All right, awesome. And now we will chime in, because I think between you, me, and Will, I think we've all done the same amount of cliff noting. And I think social media is, I believe, every word of it, always. Yeah, so I think we got our facts straight, so we can run this down.
The point, from what I've read, from what I've gathered,
from your experience,
from my readings, last night, the Grammys kind of regained somewhat of their respect, you know.
Interesting.
And,
okay.
Cachet was the word, but they said they just kind of brought back the more, I don't know how to say it, the kind of improbably awesome like musical creative moments that that captured on stage, like the collaborations and stuff.
Who performed? Do y'all remember?
I didn't really give a shit about anyone who performed. Like honestly, like
I knew Katy Perry was.
It was just like the same. It was kind of the same people.
I wasn't excited about anybody. Yeah, they really doing much.
They brought back, like Paul McCartney always makes a appearance. I mean, Jesus.
I'm sorry, but that new song with Kanye is just horrible, man. I mean, and I've been a Kanye apologist for a while, but in the last couple of years, it's just kind of fallen off.
Kanye apologist. Please explain that term to me.
I mean, you gotta give respect to where respect's due. I mean, he even still is a huge influence on like the direction of where mainstream hip hop is. He came in at a time where it was just saturated with nothing but like gangster-esque rapper.
And what he did was he brought GarageBand into the mix. And he said, hey, yo, dude, everything we need is right here on loops on our computer. Let's just do that, and they'll still pay us $1 million.
But Kanye, we got this like really big studio with all this other really good shit that 14-year-olds aren't using in their house. Nah,
dude, listen to this. I made it myself on the plane ride over here.
I don't want any death threats, so I enjoyed Kanye for a bit.
Oh, sorry, Kanye, if you're listening to this.
I mean, he has.
I sent him a message.
I know he'll figure this out somehow.
I guess let's go into Kanye for a second. Sexually. Let's just enter him and see how it goes.
Before we do this, because we're inevitably we are going to go into Kanye. But I hate the fact that the motherfucker is stealing the show, like regardless, you know what I mean? Like that's just his game, you know what I mean?
Well, I think he's in the car on the way, or maybe being driven. Maybe he took a limo. I don't know, helicopter, whatever he got to get there. Like, did he
teleported?
Was he with people who were like, "Yo, dude, are you gonna do that whole like walk up on stage shit?"
You know what I mean?
He's like, "Yeah, I am." Like, because I think it's what everyone expects and everyone wanted to see again. It's almost like I bet he got phone calls being like, "Yo, Kanye, we're gonna give you this like amount of money if you just do it during Beck. He's gonna win. It's gonna be really funny." Like, I mean,
Beck might have the most like off-put response by you doing that. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? But
it looked like he
had a really good response. Well, he did.
Really good response.
He wanted him to go up there, right?
He was like,
go ahead, say your shit, man. Go ahead, say your piece.
Like, yeah.
Did you see Jay-Z's face when Kanye attempted to do the?
I did. I did.
That was the best moment of it all.
I think so. I think they should have just kept showing that face instead of like anybody else. Just keep going to that footage of his face because it really spoke for it. I was reading on Facebook. And I thought this was really well said about the whole situation with, if you guys didn't know, Beck won for, I think, was he getting the reward, the reward? Was he getting the award for, I forgot which award.
Best album.
Best album,
I'm not mistaken.
And then Kanye came up and was about to do his Kanye thing, and all that went down. But I guess Kanye said, and apparently a quote, Beck is disrespecting art by not giving his award to Beyonce.
Well, there's a few things I will say to that.
Now let me just read this person's part. Now this is actually a beautiful post. It's from Dusty, actually, from Between the Bear and Me, and I agree with it. And tell me what you think about this. But he says that Kanye is conveniently overlooking the fact that Beyonce's album featured 24 writers to write 14 tracks, not to mention about 300 technical personnel and a multi-million-dollar marketing campaign. Beck's album was written and produced in its entirety by Beck. So what do you feel about that in response to what you might have said? Because when you read the credits for it too, you can see like everything that went into Beyonce's album, all the contributors, all the shit going on, and yeah, she has beyond oodles of money. So like, what do you think about that in general?
I do agree with him, but I think to an extent you're kind of, with that opinion, kind of missing the bigger picture because, I mean, granted, Beyonce does employ all these songwriters, but she is in a sense a creative director. She's not like a Rihanna or Katy Perry. She's not micromanaged by her label. She actually has a say on how her music is and how it is distributed. And my thing is, her new album, while I'm not that big of a fan of Beyonce's music, I really don't listen to it at all in my free time. I mean, I won't necessarily like tell someone to change it if it comes up. You got to give her credit where credit's due. Being on a major label, the way she rolled that album out with the music videos and being a surprise and doing it like a dead time in the music season and being a huge success, I mean, you got to really say that's like really innovative. Whereas it's like Beck, I've loved Beck for a while. I mean, he has some classic albums, don't get me wrong, but I mean, what did he really do with this album that was really that different or that daring or really that unique in regards to like how Beyonce delivered her album, you know what I mean? And she also, I mean, I've listened to the album I think twice, and she did experiment with some interesting sounds that are happening in like the underground R&B scene right now, the electronica scene. So I mean, she was even pushing mainstream pop in an interesting direction. So, and in all honesty, I mean, Bex, I respect him as an artist in a sense more so than Beyonce if you have to look at like his best work. But I do think that was kind of a cop-out to give him best album, and I don't necessarily think it should have gone to Beyonce, but there were a lot of other albums this year too. It's just like a cop-out in general that they picked the Beck album. But I mean, Kanye, to his credit, man, he has given awards back in the past. I mean, there have been instances where he got the award and was like, hey, this was Lil Wayne's year, I gave it back to him, or I'm trying to think of some, I mean, there was, the UGK and Outkast
but
video.
that's on him. You can't start getting on stage and asking people to give their awards back or give it to someone.
Take that
else.
moment away from people.
There is, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I've lost a lot of respect for Kanye over the past few years. Don't really consider myself a fan. I do think that is, to a degree, very disrespectful. I thought it was disrespectful, the whole Taylor Swift incident. But for him to express his opinion just offhand, I mean, it's no different than any of us doing it. Right. He's just famous and it's just a musician, so I'll give him that. But I mean, in all honesty, like I've said, I've just lost a lot of respect for him over the last few years. I mean, initially I thought he was a really great trailblazer and he got a lot of people on to a lot of interesting hip-hop. I think people like Kid Cudi and Kendrick Lamar and Tyler, the Creator, would have maybe gotten famous, but I don't know if they would have sounded or been the way they were if it weren't for Kanye's influence to begin with and what he broke in a mainstream sense. So I'll give him respect there, but man, he's like the last couple of years, just what he said, where his priorities are in terms of what he thinks are the important issues in America and where he thinks the people are. He's lost me a lot. And his music, I mean, I thought Jesus was admirable to a certain degree, but there was a lot I didn't like about it. I mean, I thought it was kind of a second-rate Death Grips ripoff to a certain degree, mixed with some, like, really ridiculous sexual lyrics that were just, I don't know. It wasn't my thing.
Did you
but,
see the
know,
video for Bound 2?
Yeah, that's just my point as well, you know? I mean, but, you know.
I want to say this. I think that's a really interesting point to take, because I feel like I like Beck, and I thought he put out some amazing shit, and I always gave him credit. Always for I mean, God, dude, Loser, like, the lyrics, like, you know, from that to, like, and Mellow Gold, like, that album was just incredible, and then, you know, Odelay and Moving Up, and then, like, it's almost like they gave him an award for being Beck. Like, dude, you did so much, bro, high five. Not that, essentially, that album was that good. On that level, I will give it to Beyonce that it was a very creative album. She came out, she's a powerhouse, and she delivered something different, and she delivered something that wasn't being delivered in a way that someone else would have put out. So on that level, I do feel, that maybe like for album, it should have gone to somebody that really dished it out on that level.
Because last year was amazing for music. I'm just going to say, I had a hard time even coming up with a top 10, even a top 25. Last year was insane. I mean, a lot of it, of course, was underground, but I mean, it just shows you how out of date and how rigged the Grammy system is to begin with. There was so much amazing music that was just completely ignored. I mean, there was more amazing music happening in this city than there were a lot of the stuff that was nominated. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just, but then again, that's bureaucracy for you.
No, it is. Rob, what else for rundowns did you find? Well, obviously not as awesome as the Kanye Beck one, but no, talk to me. What else did you find with the Grammys from last night?
To wrap it up, I'm gonna quote Noisy.com, which is a publication from Vice. If you follow Vice at all, which, you know, I don't really agree with everything they post, but this is a pretty good wrap up. So I'll just read it, pinpoint it. Last night's 57th Annual Grammy Awards was the most rewarding in the show's recent history, and even in its misfires, you could see a long-standing legacy institution lurching toward renewed respect. They're stuffy enough to open on a no-bullshit AC/DC performance, but also faintly edgy enough to honor St. Vincent and Paramore alongside the Rock Bros and sneak Aphex Twin that Best Dance Electronic Album statue. So, this is the quote I liked right here, except my phone just fucked up because I'm reading really professional notes and I'm not reading from my phone right now. But the Grammys' twin devotion to mild-mannered showmanship and to the audacity of spectacle struck a fine, weird balance last night. What other shows letting Madonna sacrifice herself to a devil? Madonna.
God, that's great. No, that's good, man. Roll with that.
Yeah.
You're going to say it again.
What other shows letting Madonna sacrifice herself to devil horn bullfighters over a throwback house bop in the first hour, only to have Beyonce conduct a church service to close it out? which I thought that's pretty true.
That yeah,
and I think that's that memorable, you know, kind of spectacle of moment. You know what I mean? Where they're just like, you know, let's really like, you know, go tops to ends of the spectrum as far as live performance as we can. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
That, I don't know. That was what I took from it. So
all right,
from the highlights of the Grammys at all.
We're gonna switch now from audio to video, and we're gonna go with our Oscar chat. Awesome. I've been excited as hell to.
Oh, me too, brother.
And I mean, I like to have you here, man, and be able to do this. One of my favorite things about you, not only because we have such an awesome bond with music and shit, like just in film alone, like the excitement when we get to like watch trailers together, watch movies, and just talk about all the. I wouldn't want anybody else here to discuss this, especially for 2014. So thanks for being here.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Being a
it's
part
a pleasure
of this
being
chat,
here.
man.
Thank you for inviting me on. Yeah, no doubt.
I want to start off with saying I believe 2014 was an amazing year for film, and
hands down.
I think this is going to be a pretty intense Oscar race. So what do you feel about 2014?
Well, you know, I've always been of the opinion you can't really. I mean, when it comes to music or film, there's really never, when people say, you know, it was a bad year for music or a bad year for film, I just don't buy that. I think there's always great art going on. You just have to look in particular
Sometimes have to look a little harder, depending. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly. But what makes the Oscars interesting is that they don't always recognize, I mean, a lot of people know, they don't always recognize the best of the year. Some stuff is a little too fringe, a little too outside the mainstream. It wasn't campaigned, you know? And I mean, there have been some years that were really weak in that regards, like the year of 2011, those films.
Yeah.
That Oscar, I mean, there were literally only two films.
Yeah, it was boring, man. I was like, dude, it was like those were movies I'd see and be like, yeah, it was a cool movie or something, and go eat a sandwich and chill and not really rave about it with anybody else. You know, that's how I felt about that year in particular. So
pretty much, and I mean, in a lot of years, I mean, there's a lot of films that you're just like, whatever.
It picked up a little bit from there, right?
Oh, I mean, it's gotten a little bit better.
Got better. 2013 was good.
Last year was 2013 was great, and now last year was spectacular on both what they've nominated and just everything else in general. I mean, I look at the list of the Best Picture nominees, and there's really only one that I have issues with, and everything else I think is completely justifiable as a Best Picture, and I thought was a really great work of cinema, or a really good work of cinema, I guess you would say. And yeah, really hats off to the Oscar committee, because I think this is probably their best nominations they've made since probably 2007. Which was the year of, like, There Will Be Blood. And
what were some of your favorite wins from, like, let's say from that time period? Like, a Best Picture, like, what did you feel like, holy crap, that was exactly justified, everything worked according to your plan of, like, what you felt was going to take the best thing? Like, what were some of your favorite wins, or the, you know, during the years that you liked of the Oscars?
Well, honestly, that's really interesting, because a lot of times what I think is usually the best film sometimes will get nominated, but usually doesn't win. The one time, though, that in recent memory that they completely got it right in my mind was last year with 12 Years a Slave. Phenomenal film, absolutely.
And it was up against a good hefty amount of stuff.
Real hefty amount
of stuff. Which was really interesting, because I didn't think it was going to take it. I really thought for how it was going, Dallas Buyers Club was probably going to take it.
Interesting.
I really did. I thought, because
it was getting a lot of hype.
It got mainly because of the hype. I mean, it was a great film, but I really didn't think it was going to take it. So when it said that, when 12 Years took it, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, awesome. That's really cool that they actually went that route. So
yeah, it was an amazing film. I mean, not only did it push cinematic language, I think, pretty far into the future in a lot of degrees, but I mean, it took a very important historical issue, created in a fashion that was both accessible to the masses, but also challenged cinema as an art form. And the performances were amazing. Everything about that film was superb, and it was nominated among a class of really great films, and this year is just even better. So,
before we get into the categories and everything, dude, I wanted to cover one thing about you. One thing about a film that was not going to be a part of the Best Picture category that we believed it was going to be Interstellar.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Interstellar was, I mean, for me, probably one of the most
stellar movies.
God, dude, wow, Rob. Yeah. That was so perfect.
I haven't seen it.
I want to say it. Yeah, it was stellar.
I mean, to me, it's a blessing that movie was made in general. Like, I haven't not seen a movie. I mean, and here's my relationship with Christopher Nolan, you know?
Talk to me about your friendship with Christopher Nolan. Where do you guys roll? What do you do?
Detailed.
Well,
really detailed.
My introduction to him when I first started really getting into cinema, I'm 26 right now, and I started really getting into cinema around the time I was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Memento was my introduction to him. I thought it was amazing for its time, and I still think it's really good. And over the years, he would deliver films I either really loved, like The Dark Knight, which I still think... I'm not a superhero movie fan really all that much, but that film is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, easily.
One of the best like action blockbuster scripts ever made,
Without a doubt.
easily. I thought The Prestige was kind of cool. And I even liked parts of Inception, but I mean, he still had a few films that I thought kind of fumbled majorly, like Dark Knight Rises. I thought was a huge letdown. And even though I did like Inception, I did have a few issues with it here and there.
Did you like Batman Begins? The first.
It was pretty cool. Yeah,
I loved all three of them. I can't lie.
Oh, really?
I really did.
Wow. I mean, maybe my expectations were just. I mean, The Dark Knight was just so good, and I mean, Dark Knight Rises.
Well, I thought that was the peak for sure, but. Like, I mean, it had to begin and it had to conclude with the first and third, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
true.
Dark Knight Rises.
Following, which I've talked to you about too. It's, 94 that came out, an hour and 10-minute film, black and white, and that was just... I mean, we all do that.
And you can see all the markings of him in there too. I mean, from the protagonist being named Cobb to
But it's so crazy. You see someone who saw Inception in theaters and see that, and you see... amazing production, great shots, really great shots, just beautiful stuff that you recognize immediately with that Christopher Nolan, but then you watch Following and you're just like, whoa, that was 94.
Yeah.
This dude, like, I wish I could have been there on the set, just having a cigarette, just like watching him work, and then go to the set of Inception and see the difference. But
Interstellar was just on a whole nother level. It was literally, I mean, it's a miracle that got made in the studio system, because it's one of the most challenging films I've ever seen with a budget like that.
Yes, visually, just you can see it. You can see what happened.
Exactly. I mean, he didn't fall prey to a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of balls too to make like a space film in 2014 in a major studio and not have like any aliens. You know what I mean? Like, he took a lot of risks, and I mean, I thought it was really relevant. I thought that it was really great, well-written entertainment that bordered on really great art as well. And I mean, from what I understand, the reason it probably what hurt its chances of getting a nomination for Best Picture was the fact that I don't think Christopher Nolan campaigned for it, from what I understand. Yeah. Which I also heard David Fincher didn't campaign for Gone Girl, which is why I think it didn't get nominated for Best Picture, which is another film that I thought was worthy of that as well. And I think that it came down to politics more than anything. But I mean, there's also this whole bias, from what I've understand, against Christopher Nolan. I mean, a lot of people in Hollywood after The Dark Knight really doubted Inception and really doubted him in general, and thought that the only reason he just kind of lucked out on like getting a good franchise with Batman, and he really wasn't this wunderkind that so many people tried to make him out to be. You know what I mean? But I think he's consistently proven that against him. But he has had the stigma of being like a Hollywood blockbuster director who can't properly tackle art and would much rather like do a lot of crazy technical, expository like dialogue and plots and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like sometimes am I not. I watch movies for different reasons. I think we all do. So I mean, when I saw Inception, or when I saw Dark Knight, when I saw Prestige, when I see like his films, I'm for me, and like what I like weigh out when I'm watching a movie. I mean, it delivered all that to me. Like the cast delivered the visuals. You see visuals you just haven't seen in other movies. You're going on this adventure, and it takes you through all this stuff that you just haven't seen performed. Like Interstellar to me is like our 2001: Space Odyssey. Like, it's this other,
That's fair.
It's an intense adventure. And it is. It's a lot to take in. I mean, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, put up a YouTube video. A bunch of people put up trying to explain what was going on and talk about stuff. It is. It's a really intense thing, but that doesn't mean it's stupid or like, this is too smart. Yeah. So I can't get it. Like, no, like, learn about it, read about it. That's interesting shit. We could watch a bunch of movies about like war and people getting killed, all this shit going on, and sex. And I love it, and I love all that, I love those type of films to watch, but I'm saying Interstellar, like, let your mind just kind of, like, scream for a bit and let out, like, holy crap, time travel, that, we've all, Back to the Future. I mean, there were films about time travel for a bit, and now here we are, just Interstellar, and it delivered the most, perfect. Like, phenomenal performance, and I get it. I can understand if Mr. Nolan didn't want to get out there and really...
And I can't blame him, because as a filmmaker myself, I don't even really ever... Oscar's not on my goal list, you know what I mean? I just want to make great art. And it's like, we got awards, whatever, I'd probably pull a Malick or a Woody Allen and not just show up like they do. You know what I mean? Like,
we may not get a chance to chat about this film a decent amount, but I wanted to just a little bit before we got into our picks for stuff for the Oscar ballot. But Foxcatcher.
Oh God, probably one of my. It's in contention for at least my personal favorite, number one.
I was
surprised it didn't get nominated for Best Picture. Not surprised, kind of, but I was. You know what I mean?
I know. I feel you.
I can understand why it didn't get nominated. It wasn't exactly like a smash at the box office, even on like an indie level scale. It had been delayed kind of for a year because it came out originally in cons back 2013, I believe, and I think it was going to come out in that whole race, but I think they held on to it just because I guess they thought the competition was strong. I'm not quite sure, but it was worth the wait. Extremely important film. I mean, so many layers to it. It was a film that's still in my conscious.
Yeah, it's really rare when a drama comes out that is so disturbing and so cold and so like just unnerving, but there's no crazy theatrical music or car chases or anything that really leaves you on like.
It's a credit to Bennett Miller, the director.
Yeah, man. It was so quiet but so loud. You know what I mean? And I haven't seen a film like do that in a minute, and I couldn't believe how Steve Carell, and I mean, dude, I love Jon Stewart. The Daily Show was phenomenal. Steve. Who he picked to do his show, like everybody is doing amazing things from that on. Like he picked the right people, and Carell, regardless of his movies or which ones flopped or which of this, like he's a funny dude. He seemed like a cool guy, and I was pretty much entertained by him. So to see him step into that role and the makeup process he went through and everything, and I'll give it to the whole cast, man. What we got, Mark Ruffalo.
Almost like indistinguishable. You couldn't even like tell that was Mark Ruffalo
easily. And then we were talking about the other day. What's his name?
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, dude. And his ears. Dude. Oh man, like it was the special effects and the makeup.
Channing Tatum really brought it. I mean, I read it or I watched an interview that I think Vice did with him, and it was basically him saying, you know, when I got the script, I didn't even really understand why it was great. Like he said, you know, it was a time where I really didn't know a lot about films, and he was even a little weary of like Bennett Miller, but. You know, Bennett Miller, I guess, just really talked him out and convinced him and took him on this ride. And he's, you know, he just said he's like had this huge new appreciation for cinema and art, and it's really interesting because you can see in his performance he really reaches a whole height that I didn't even think was possible. I mean, I slagged him for years, you know what I mean? Like really, and to see him come out and do this film and do it that well, it was astonishing. I mean, I honestly could have seen him get nominated for Best Actor for that too, along with Carell. You know, it would have been justifiable had it happened.
I want to cover the main. Well, at least the ones I feel like main, and I mean, I'm sure they do too in some perspective, but the main categories going on for the Oscars, and it's February 18th, I believe, happening.
Yes,
and Neil
correct.
Patrick Harris
is
hosting that, so that should be
so stoked on
awesome.
That. They've had some very questionable hosts in the last few years, so I'm glad to see that, you know, he's going to be in the fold and hopefully doing a great job.
I want to start with cinematography.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read off the contenders. We have Birdman, the Grand Budapest Hotel, Ida, Mr. Turner, and Unbroken are the contenders for cinematography. What do you feel?
Well, this is interesting because I have seen all the films nominated for Best Picture as well as a number of other films nominated in other categories, but unfortunately, Mr. Turner hasn't made it here to North Carolina yet, which is unfortunate. I'm a huge Mike Leigh fan, and Timothy Spall as well, which I'm surprised he wasn't getting more buzz for his acting role in that. I haven't seen Unbroken just because I could spend like 45 minutes talking about how much.
That's a whole other fucking podcast.
Yeah. Ida looks amazing. I don't think it's come here yet, so I haven't seen it. So my personal opinion, I mean, I love the fact that Birdman gives you the illusion that it is all one take, you know? And I think if it was off of technical ability and that was what the votes would be towards, Birdman would win. But I kind of feel like, you know, Roger Deakins with Unbroken, I think people are just going to want to show him the love for that, and he might end up getting it for that one. That's just, I think that might just be what happens. It's going to be one of those things where, you know, his like body of work is going to be recognized over that film Unbroken, and that's just the buzz I've been hearing. But I mean, Grand Budapest could pull an upset, you know.
Yeah, Wes Anderson,
which was a beautiful looking film, and I mean, I love Wes Anderson.
I loved it. I did, but as far as Best Pick or cinematography, like
you don't know if it's
I love Wes Anderson, but I think he's done so much better. So I mean, I'm glad he's in the running for sure. But like I think, I mean, some of his other stuff visually has done it more for me than Grand Budapest Hotel.
And that's a very fair argument. Personally, like, I think his, like, cinematic vision reached its height with, like, Life Aquatic.
That's my favorite right
Beautiful.
there.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
man.
my favorite.
Yep.
Like, that film...
Seriously, that did it.
That's
for
my
me.
personal favorite.
Dude, same
on
here.
every level. From
Respect Knuckles.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
I still feel for me, I think Royal Tenenbaums is mine. And I don't know. I think
great one,
because the story and the cast, I was introduced. I was like my first film. I don't know if it's just because it's my baby and I loved it, and like it was my first Wes Anderson movie, and I like it was the first thing where I was like, "Who's this director? This is amazing."
Same.
And then you know, but the cast is always incredible. The dude finds a way to like really bring some shit together, but
and
like,
bring out performances in these actors that you just don't see.
Oh my god,
coming at
exactly.
all.
That
Yeah.
you don't see in any other films
Exactly.
they do, and I think that's beautiful. And just the way he shoots, the way he wants his stuff done is great. I just don't know. I feel you, and I think that's a great opinion. For me, I really do believe Birdman can take it on the level because of just that alone. To me, being able to shoot a film and make it look like it did, in that element and what it was, I was hypnotized. You said it perfectly. Like there was no downtime through Birdman.
Exactly.
Like,
the tension just
and
never
that
lets up.
wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't just because of like the actors and all that stuff. Like literally, those shots made everything and brought everything home to me. Because if it wasn't shot like that, I started thinking about just normal ways they could
He had a
do
very
cuts.
formal like shot to it, you know, with the over the shoulders, which is not.
It blows my mind. To go off the top of that for a second, Louis for his last season, Louis C.K. I think one of the episodes won an award.
I need to get caught up on that last season. I mean, incredible show. Love
Dude,
Louis
he
C.K.
had his whole scene.
Haven't had the time to get up to the last one, but
Dude,
yeah,
you got to, man. It was great. But he had a whole scene where he's like literally having this conversation with a woman, and the camera just follows him the whole time going around. And there's no break, and I believe that was literally shot like that, and it was just... you don't see that a lot. You know, editing and doing all that, it's easy. You make a mistake, you shoot this angle, bada bop, bada boop, bop. But, like, it was so real. It was so real, and it made me, like, even more invested and even more, like, just compelled to, like, watch because of how simple, but yet, like, how... literally real is the only word I can use to describe it. So for me, I think Birdman might take the cake. I want to go to supporting actress next.
Oh yes.
We have Patricia Arquette for Boyhood. We got Laura Dern for Wild. We got the beautiful Keira Knightley for The Imitation Game. The beautiful Emma Stone for Birdman, and the beautiful Meryl Streep for Into the Woods. She is, man. She's like, what, like 200? She looks great.
I haven't seen any of these movies, but hands down, it should go to Keira Knightley.
Just her?
No,
In
see,
general,
here's
for her
why I
looks?
have to disagree, man, because I loved Imitation Game, but I thought she was the weakest link in that film.
Okay.
I mean, it was a great film, but like her performance was just... I mean, I love Keira Knightley too, even in some of her other performances, but that was just like the most like... Out of everything nominated, almost, that's like the one I have the lukewarm response to.
Yeah.
It's like, it was good, I guess it did its job for the character, but...
Who do you think's going to take it?
Oh, Patricia Arquette, hands down. I mean, not only did she give the best performance, but I mean, she embodies like the Generation X mom in that film better than like I've ever seen in, like any kind of film period. And I mean, that's the thing about Boyhood. I mean, we'll get to that in a second.
Oh
but
my God, yes.
Oh yes, but like the thing that was genius about like Boyhood was, I mean, not only was it a film about boyhood, not only was it a film about family, but it was really a film about Generation X and coming to terms with parenthood and coming to terms with that entering the new millennium and just millennials in general and their experience in the new century. And I mean, she personified what it is to be a mom and, you know, that, and from that generation better than anything. Her performance was amazing. She was able to carry every emotion, every subtlety. I mean, hands down, she needs to take it. I will ride if she doesn't. I'm saying this now with Laura Dern being my favorite actress. Like, I'm a huge Laura Dern nut, you know?
And that's cool. I'm with you on that. I believe Patricia Arquette will take it. True Romance, easily still one of my favorite films, and I think that she has an ability to take a role and just go with it in a way that another actress is not going to even compete. And I think for that, I don't know if he chose, I don't know if he had anybody else in mind before her, but I hope not. I hope that was literally like, I need her in this. She's going to deliver it perfectly, and she did enough to really, I think, drive it home for that role. I think Emma Stone was brilliant in Birdman. To see her work with such greats like Edward Norton and
she has a scene-stealing moment in the film too.
Easily, man.
Speech,
we talked about it the other day. That monologue with her and her dad was just the camera on her and everything that was coming out of her mouth and her eyes. You're just like, holy shit!
Just
like
preach it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
She did a great job in it. I just really don't think it was anywhere at the level of what Patricia Arquette delivered in Boyhood. Supporting actor, my sir.
Oh yes.
We got some peoples here. We got Robert Duvall in The Judge. We got hey, hold on now. Don't give it away yet. Don't give it away. Don't hold the size in. Ethan Hawke in Boyhood. We got Edward Norton for Birdman. Mark Ruffalo for Foxcatcher. And J.K. Simmons for Whiplash. This was hard, man. I was talking with you about this earlier. About I was really struggling to see who I wanted to pick for this one. I decided on Edward Norton because I still believe out of everything there, I think he delivered a performance that no one else could have did with Michael Keaton in that. From the minute he walked out on the camera to the end, I thought
we got 48 hours, man. Get to the chase.
Like I know, shut up, man. I really do. I think he delivered it, and I think he should take it. He really did a great job in it. The other person I was struggling with really a lot was J.K. Simmons, and it sucks because I believe Ethan Hawke was so good in Boyhood. I do. Ethan Hawke was awesome, but J.K. Simmons was never nominated for anything. He's an amazing actor.
Oh,
and
definitely.
His whole character and what he did in Whiplash was astonishing. So that's why I was really struggling between them, but I think I settled on Edward Norton. What do you feel?
Well, just to just say this in general, I mean, I would be happy with any of these men taking this award outside of Robert Duvall for The Judge. And I say this too, being a huge Robert Duvall fan.
Same here, man.
I've loved a lot of his work, but I mean, The Judge was just typical
with Robert Downey
Hollywood
Jr.,
melodrama.
Man. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the kind
no
of film.
substance, just so long and just so not appealing.
Exactly,
and two actors. You got Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr.
And Billy Bob Thornton was in it too.
Yeah, and you were just sleeping the whole time, man. It was just, they did it in such a boring way, and I thought it was going to be a juggernaut with those performances.
Exactly.
With
on
those
paper, it looks like you would have the ingredients, but no.
What do you feel is going to take it, sir?
Well, I really do think it's in J.K. Simmons' hands. I mean, not only has she won all the precursors, but I mean, that performance, man. I mean, being from like an art school background, I'm not saying I've had professors that quite were on that level, but I can understand that, that mentor who just demands a level of perfection out of you, and I think he captured that perfectly, and I think J.K. Simmons is due as well, and I think he's always played a great bad guy. I mean, Oz, man,
dude, that just easily, just bring up Oz.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, I think I was like 10 or 11, and my dad showed that to me as like an excuse to or as a reason to not ever do anything to go to prison, and
was there butt sex in Oz?
Yeah, that was something that was, I was educated on that, unfortunately, through that show. It was, I mean, man, I'm just never going to go through...
Ernie Hudson was the warden, and he was a Ghostbuster, and that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, the black Ghostbuster, now the warden, killing it. Hardcore in Oz. Fucking cutthroat. It was amazing. Amazing performance. Did you not see Oz?
Did not see Oz.
Damn, Rob.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. It was some crazy shit.
He was the black Ghostbuster, Rob.
I know.
The only
I saw
one.
Ghostbusters.
I don't know if you did. We'll talk about it.
Dude,
we'll talk about it.
But I do think he will win. I mean, and I do love Edward Norton's performance in Birdman.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. And I think that it was outstanding. Any other year, I'd give it to him. But I do think J.K. Simmons will take it just because, I mean, he is perfect because, I mean, he plays this person who's total antagonist and you want to hate him for what he's doing to the protagonist, Miles Teller, that we are supposed to identify with. But at the same time, man, he's so right about everything. And it's like, that's what I loved about the film was just how much, as a viewer, how much I was just in conflict with my own ideals. And wow, that film just gave me a spin on that level. I mean, we'll get to it in a second when we talk to Best Picture, but I think J.K. Simmons has it.
All right, man. Hell yeah. No, I can't wait to see what happens with that. Let's go on to actress quickly. I want to read these beautiful ladies off. We got Reese Witherspoon in Wild. We got, I believe it's Rosamund Pike?
Yes, Rosamund Pike.
Yes.
Gone Girl, yeah.
Julianne Moore in Still Alice. Felicity Jones for The Theory of Everything, and Marion
Cotillard.
There we go. Yeah. I didn't see that one.
It's all good.
What a good Oscar wrap-up. We were killing it. I'm going with Julianne Moore for this.
And I'll agree with you on that.
I think she's not only a beautiful woman, but she's done some great work. Honestly, what was that film with Clive Owen? that she did.
Oh, well,
the beautiful,
man, what?
So intense, that 360 spin around in the car, slow motion, she's bleeding everywhere. Children of Men.
That's it. Yeah. Alfonso
Easily.
Cuarón.
Have you ever seen Children of Men? Dude,
movie.
oh my god, like podcast people listening.
Yes,
Check
sir.
out
Yes, sir.
Julie Moore was phenomenal in it, but I really do think this performance right here is going to take it for Best Actress.
And I can't wait to see it too. Yeah, it hasn't had a lot
come
of
out
release
here,
yet,
sadly.
so, yeah.
But everything behind it and her and the trailer itself is just, I don't know. It looks like it's going to take it. It sucks, man. I feel shitty. Like I wish I wish all the movies got here so we can see them all and stuff, and we just didn't have like interviews and trailers and stuff to look at. But I don't know. I really think she's going to take the cake.
I do too, and it's a really good lineup. I mean, I loved Rosamund Pike and Gone Girl. I really just loved Gone Girl. That would probably be in my top 5 in all honesty. I mean, granted, it was a little pulpy. Yes, it was a little mainstream.
Was Gone Girl up for Best Picture as well, and you think maybe had the same situation?
Yeah,
the campaign situation.
And I mean, here's the thing about David Fincher, man. He's a really blunt person. I mean, he'll tell you that, you know, he probably doesn't consider like Gone Girl art. He probably thinks of it as commercial fare like he did, what was the one he did with Jodie Foster?
Panic Room?
Panic Room, yeah. I mean, and he's very honest with that. He is aware of what his films are, and I think he's someone who doesn't get caught up in the pretensions as much, though he's very demanding, very much perfectionist.
Very
and
true.
I think, you know, like a lot of them, the awards, it's whatever to him, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think he's really going to go out of his way to really try to appease the Academy, so there you go.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. So we're on the same page with Miss Moore there. Moving to actor.
Very, very interesting.
Oh man, here we go. We got Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, Bradley Cooper, American Sniper, Benedict Cumberbatch, The Imitation Game, and we got Michael Keaton for Birdman, and we have Eddie Redmayne from The Theory of Everything.
Yeah.
Not a bad lineup, sir. What do you think?
Not a bad lineup at all. I pretty much agree with it. And I guess we're just gonna have to go ahead and get it out there. I did not particularly care for American Sniper, and this is coming from someone who is a war film fan. Got a lot of friends in the service. You know, hats off to those who do that duty. But I just can't help but feel that this film doesn't give them enough justice, and I just felt that like it was a huge fumble, and it could have been a lot more. And I think that unfortunately it just came off very propagandish, and I just don't. The best war films are the ones that paint both sides as humans,
exactly,
and actually take time to comment on like war in general from that aspect. And I mean, granted, your film can be about PTSD, but you owe it to the source material to at least, you know, treat it, you know, with like I feel like a balanced representation as an artist, you know. And when you don't, it comes off as propaganda, and it's unfortunately when it came off. And I'll put it out there, I do love a lot of Clint Eastwood's earlier works. I mean,
yes,
I love Josie Wells. I can't think of a more quotable film, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a classic. I mean, and even a lot of his directorial efforts have been very strong. You know, Unforgiven, Mystic River. I mean,
Mystic River.
The man is talented. I'm not going to deny it. But it was unfortunately a fumble. And I even had the opinion going in to see it. I was optimistic, and I even thought at the very least I would get a really good performance out of Bradley Cooper. But unfortunately, I didn't even see that. I mean, it's hard to say that he had a really good performance when like half the movie is like
running
Call
around.
of Duty. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
you see kind of the best performance in him in the trailers. I think is the way you worded it.
Exactly. There are some good moments, but I mean, overall, I mean, it's like in the same boat as I would say Felicity Jones in The Theory of Everything for Best Actress. It was pretty good. I think there were some scenes where there was a stretch, but at the end of the day, that spot could have been taken by Channing Tatum from Foxcatcher, Jake Gyllenhaal from Nightcrawler, Ralph Fiennes for Grand Budapest Hotel, which is my pick for Best Actor just in general. Like, that should have, you know, that's like the biggest snub, in my opinion, in that category. And I just don't think... I mean, I love Bradley Cooper, too. I mean, Silver Linings Playbook was one of my favorite films of that year.
Yeah.
He was great in it, and I mean, it's been awesome to see him evolve as an actor over the past couple of decades, but... Man, just wasn't feeling American Sniper like that. So,
who do you think is going to take the pot there for actor?
This is the toughest one to call, honestly. A lot of people are saying Michael Keaton, and I do think that's deserved. But Eddie Redmayne has been winning a few precursors here and there. I mean, I think if you had to look at just like a stretch, that was the one that was definitely a stretch when you look at Eddie Redmayne as who he is and what he had to do to put into that role. But it'll really, I think it's going to come out to them two. But here's the thing, you could get a split vote, and it could go to Bradley Cooper, honestly, because I think American Sniper just has that much love, regardless of what I think, you know? I wouldn't want that to happen, but you could also see Benedict Cumberbatch come in there. I think it's doubtful, but it would be deserved too, and in fact, I think his performance is great. But out of these nominated, honestly, my favorite, Steve Carell, Foxcatcher, which I think he has the least possible chance, which is interesting because if you'd asked me this back in August, September, I thought he was a clear frontrunner.
Yeah.
I thought people were going to buy it like hook, line, and sinker, and I thought people were going to be like, whoa, what?
You see that trailer and you're like, this is insane. No one's going to see this coming, and he's going to knock everything down in its path.
Yep. Exactly, and that just wasn't the case at all, which is the biggest surprise to me this season.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah. He delivered, and it was great to see him take a film like this and put so much into it and that character and drive home every disturbing moment. And he was surrounded by a great cast and obviously great director and everything else. But I still do believe, like, Michael Keaton, just Birdman essentially alone was just a phenomenal film. But like him in that and how he was in that and his character in that, he delivered to me everything I needed for a Best Actor performance. Yeah. Just the raw feeling. I mean, just the way it's shot alone, obviously, you could really depict everything that he was going through, and every emotion, every moment was real, and every moment didn't seem contrived at all, and I just thought he delivered it, and I really hope he takes it. I really do.
Oh, I do agree. And I mean, he's due as well. I mean, he's been around for a minute. He's put in some interesting performances always, you know, even in his more commercial fare. And I've always liked Michael Keaton, and I'm glad to see him on there. And I mean, he delivered in Birdman.
Yeah, regardless, even if he takes him in, he made that. I mean, he was in that film, and that film was great, and he deserves all the applause and everything for and recognition for him being like, yo, this is Michael Keaton. He did all these movies. We haven't heard about him in a minute, and then boom, came back, and this was it. It wasn't like, you know, Big Mama's House. He's doing a cameo as a lawyer or something. Like he just, I don't know, he nailed it. I'm really stoked to see what happens. Director.
Interesting. Yeah.
Best director is where we're at right now.
Yes.
And sir, give me these names because I don't want to mess them up anymore. I'm tired of it.
Alejandro G. Iñárritu for Birdman, Richard Linklater for Boyhood, Ben Miller for Foxcatcher, Wes Anderson for The Grand Budapest Hotel, and Morton Tildum for The Imitation Game. Which is a very, very good lineup. I can't really honestly argue too much with any of them. Morton Tildum, who I wasn't too familiar with, he had done a few films overseas that I hadn't actually seen. Fallen Angels, not to be confused with the Wong Kar-wai film, and another film of his that I wasn't familiar with either. And I did like The Imitation Game a lot, and I did love it. I don't necessarily, to me, the best director nominee should be someone who not only tells a great story, but also kind of pushes the medium forward, maybe even just a little bit. Imitation Game was a little bit paint by numbers. It was a great film, a great story, and it really hit home. Yeah. It was one of the few films to really emotionally, like, get a couple tears out of my eyes by the end. I mean, it's a very strong, powerful film. And for that alone, I think the nomination is deserved, but it could have easily gone to a few other directors and I wouldn't have been disappointed. But they were right on the money with the other top four. I would have easily put them all in there, and they were all at the top of their game. And it's very, very, very hard for me actually to even pick which one's the best out of all that. You know, it's next to impossible. And I won't be disappointed with any of them getting it because I unfortunately don't think Morton's going to get it, but I think it's almost up for grabs between. Well, I don't think Bennett Miller's going to get it, unfortunately, for Foxcatcher. I don't think he has much of a chance, unfortunately, because if you look at the box office, it wasn't much. Foxcatcher just didn't have the hype that I think it deserved. But honestly, he's probably one or two of my pick if I had to make one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Foxcatcher was a tremendous work. But I do think that, I mean, it's tough, man. It's either going to be Iñárritu or Linklater. I think it's really a 50-50 at this point. I mean, they can honor Iñárritu because Birdman's just a tremendous film. And he got the DGA, he got the PGA, which is one thing that we have to bring up, the fact that he's gotten all these precursors. Yeah. But I mean, Linklater, not only do you have to take into account that it was a 12-year production, but he nailed it. I mean, it could have very easily flopped. And I remember hearing about it literally 12 years ago, right around the time I got in the film, because Richard Linklater was one of those directors that I cleaned early on to. And I remember reading in the trades, I think back in like 2004, 2005, that they were making this film. And I was like, oh, well, that'd be pretty cool, interesting. You know, I wonder what will ever come of it. I did never anticipate it to be as good as it was and to be the cultural event that it has been. And it's honestly pushes the art form very, it does things with it that I haven't seen. And I think it's deserved, but man, you gotta look at Wes Anderson, The Grand Budapest Hotel, which, like I said, I like Life Aquatic, and we all have personal favorites, but objectively, he really brought it, and you could even say he might have brought it better than ever, because it's not just what he achieved visually, but like tonally, and what the story said, so man, it's a toss-up. I'm tempted to say Linklater, because I think that a lot of the PGA and the DGA is going to Birdman, because people know that Boyhood's gonna, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, we're gonna have to give Birdman something. Part of me wants to think that, but, you know, it'll be interesting. I honestly, it's gonna be hard for me before that night to place my bets. You know?
No, I understand it. It's cool to like have that like rush where you're like, man, all of them are sick. Like I want to like see where the vote really is gonna go, because Linklater is, man, like Boyhood, like we've discussed before. I have not, and there hasn't been a film that really did this. Like that's an emotional task. Like that's all those actors' lives for 12 years, knowing what's going on with them personally, everything like that. And he got so much support, man. Just when I was watching the behind the scenes and stuff, and just hearing how each year he got a certain budget to keep doing what he was doing, just enough to do like a small indie film, but have a little bit of extra chest there to just make it look right and do all that stuff. And that's emotional. I'm an emotional dude, and that like that hit me hard.
Same.
It's just wow, and it sucks because I don't want to make that like rule out all the others or be like, well, it's just because that. But on the level of just a movie that like takes you on this journey, and it's almost 3 hours, man, and it's up there, and you start at the beginning of this, and they time jump nicely, and the way they shot it, the way they tell the story, it's unlike any other relationship way. When you look at boy meets girl, girl cheats on boy catches girl in the act again, fight breaks out, other boy kicks boy's ass, emotional stuff, and then they cue up some My Chemical Romance, and it's like and the credits roll. Like it's not that they look at it in such a different way, and the writing is so brilliant in its own. And I know that's not necessarily what we're looking at for the award here, but for overall, just gift wrapping it, putting it together, and presenting it like I don't think anybody's topped what he did with it. And I think he really is going to take it. It's hard, man. Like you said, Birdman especially. I think both of them are like just right here, neck and neck. And it's going to be a sick lineup. But I feel that Boyhood's going to pull through. We got to it. We're here at Best Picture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I really am excited about watching the Oscars. We're gonna try to watch it together. We talked. We're gonna find a place. I'd ask people listening if they could help us, but this is not live. So we kind of... Rob, you want to ask us how the Oscars were? We'll do a couple takes. It's like, I'm excited we should watch it together and go through all this glory, because it's a year that you want to watch, I believe. And I wanted to make sure, like, people listening... Hopefully you're all movie buffs, because we're nerding out like crazy here, but it's going to be a really sick year. Best Picture, we're looking at American Sniper, Birdman, Boyhood, Grand Budapest Hotel, The Initiation Game.
Imitation Game there.
Imitation. You got it, dude.
It's getting late, man. No worries.
Calling it out, dude. I can't do it. Selma.
Which we haven't talked about yet.
We haven't talked about that. You're right. The Theory of Everything and Whiplash.
Interesting. And we haven't really talked a whole lot about Theory of Everything or Whiplash, so
Very true. We haven't gotten into those. Well, just start thinking, man. Kick it off with the first one on the list there.
American Sniper, as I've expressed earlier. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's conflicting, man. I mean, it's made so much money, and to me, it's just kind of disheartening that that's the one film that wasn't a Fast and the Furious or a comic book or a franchise film to make that much money. And it's frustrating, too, because it tells me that, A, America does have the patience to take a film that's not completely laden with special effects, but B, that's the kind of film like that gets them out there. So it's like, I don't know. It's a conflicting film, but like I said, I just don't think it deserves to be up there. And yeah, I think it might actually win though if it Birdman and Boyhood somehow split the vote. Yeah. But I mean, who knows? But personally, not my thing. Birdman, like we said, great film. I wouldn't have any problem at all with that taking it. Same with Boyhood or Grand Budapest, because Wes Anderson's so due. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
He's been in it for a minute. I mean, same with Linklater and Inarritu, but I mean, they're all three due. Imitation Game was an extremely great, powerful film, and very relevant too. It's really interesting because the whole social critics have been really on Selma and American Sniper lately for how they, are incorporated with our what's going on culturally right now in the world. But I tell you, Imitation Game was more. I think it's extremely relevant and more so relevant than a lot of people said.
Did you? I can't remember if we discussed it. I didn't get a chance to see Selma. Was it released already? Here nationally? Is it?
Yeah, it's been out for a few weeks.
Okay.
And it's a pretty good film. There's been a lot of controversy over Ava DuVernay not being nominated for Best Director, and I honestly think that she didn't deserve a nomination because that was the weakest thing with Selma. I just thought the directing in that film, like The Imitation Game and Theory of Everything, if we want to be honest, was very kind of paint by numbers. She didn't really break any boundaries. She's been in the industry for a while, and I have to give her props. She's definitely worked her way up, and all my respect, she is talented, but I just don't think she's paid her dues. I don't think the film really showed any beyond the subject matter that was in there, I think she could have done so much more as a director to have made it so much more powerful. You know what I mean? That film could have been better than it was, and I think the directing held it back, if anything. And I think it's amazing for her that, a film like that can get made from like a black woman and go that far, but I just don't think she's there yet.
Gotcha.
And I don't think that she would be justified in getting that nomination, and I don't have any argument with her not, but it was a really great, relevant film. It definitely got to me in some good places. There was some great acting in it. And, it might have deserved a few more nominations here and there in a few categories, but overall, Selma was solid. I don't think it'll win, but, really good, important film, and I think it's a film that everyone should see, and it's saddening that we live in a country that American Sniper is getting so much money, whereas Selma's not,
Very true. Very true. It's once again, for me, it's like, I don't know, I look at all the films, and I look if I have a DVD collection, and I'm like, I think all these are great movies to have. Like, if friends come over, be like, dude, let's watch this, let's do this, depending, I think they're all amazing films, but like when you want to say like best picture, and you look at what has to captivate that, or not captivate, what has to
embody that.
Yeah, embody that. Beautiful, Rob.
Exactly.
Jesus, thank you. What it has to embody all that stuff around like best picture. There has to be that one that stands out where you're like, dude, this one right here. Like, and for me, that's Boyhood, because just explaining that journey alone, like, this film was shot over a course of 12 years, and it takes you on a journey through this kid's life through.
And it's such a crazy document of just 21st century America and everything we're going through as a society right now, and everything, like I've said, the millennials and Generation X are going through. It really marks a time. It's crazy, man, watching that film for the first time, and it's like the first scenes were filmed early in the 2002, and it's just like, wow, I haven't seen a film that looked or felt like this, and it's crazy in 2014 that this got, I'm watching it, you know what I mean? Like, that alone just gave me chills, and talk about a film that just, like, gets you in from, like, the first few scenes. I mean, literally, you're hooked within the first 5 minutes.
With music and film, and I know you can speak, it's a huge outlet for you. It's a huge outlet for me, too. Like, it's on that level where, like, it's an escape. It's a great way to get away for a bit. You could lose yourself. You could shut everything off for 2 hours and get into a movie, or you could sit around with your friends goofing off to a movie that you've watched tons of times that you don't need to necessarily be watching it, but it's there, and you could catch a joke and you're happy. Grandma's Boy. But like, I mean, it's just, that's a great thing. There's a lot of different reasons to watch films, and I think when it comes down to Best Picture for me, it has to be that one that just tickles you a little bit more than
and that's
others.
Boyhood for me.
And for me, I do. I feel it is. And it sucks because, like,
I wouldn't be sad with Birdman taking it, honestly, because it is a great... It's just like the year that No Country for Old Men took it over, There Will Be Blood.
Very true. Oh, my God. That's a really good point.
Yeah. And I think Michael Clayton was nominated, and so was Atonement, which was fairly good. Juno, I personally couldn't stand. But, I mean, granted...
Michael Clayton at all, man. I usually enjoy some of Clooney's performances. I wasn't into Michael Clayton, though.
Watch it again. The older I get, the more it's a film that I appreciate, especially considering how it's relevant more and more so as time goes on, but... Definitely check that one out again. I think it's one worth revisiting. But, I mean, the year that No Country for Old Men, my personal favorite was There Will Be Blood, and I still think it's one of the finest films of the last few decades. But No Country for Old Men, great work of art. I honestly couldn't really too much complain that it took it over.
There Will Be Blood, man. Like, Daniel Day-Lewis is that guy who just gets in, does a movie, goes back to, like, Ireland, and just does some shit. And then Martin Scorsese's like, hey, come do this. Or someone will call him, he's like, all right. And he kisses his mom, and he goes out to the States. Doesn't do interviews, just like, fuck all me, dude. You saw Last of the Mohicans? Don't mess with me. Like, but I'm like, dude, like, I was hooked with him. Like, I could watch Gangs of New York any day. His role in that was just incredible. The dude's got it. And, like, seeing his performance just in the first 6-7 minutes alone in that movie, where it's no words, nothing, just weird fucking music, and him down there doing the oil thing, and you're like, shit.
And it's all told without any, like, dialogue at all.
Exactly.
Within that whole opening scene, you understand this man and what it is.
Yeah, you see it, and it's about...
Well, it's an American epic.
Like, exactly. That's
easily.
What
it's about. Like,
and it's all about American capitalism.
It is the rags, I don't know what you say, but the rags to riches story of America. What, like...
What you'll do, obsession. It takes that word obsession, then you try to justify it, being like, well, I'm going to making so much money, I'm doing this, but then you forget, like, you're obsessed. Like, what he did with his son, everything that went on, like, the dude was... He just had this. He knew what he wanted, and all this other shit was trying to get in the way, but it was like, that's it. He wanted this more than anything. You see it. You see it from the beginning to end, like, and that's a performance, man. You know what I mean? And that's what I look for with films. Like, I'm getting getting goosebumps talking about my man Daniel Day-Lewis right now, and it's like
that's
easily, dude, and it is. It's not.
It's such an important movie too, like
very
for sure. Just being an American epic, like there's no story that's been captured like that on film. You know,
I agree. Paul Thomas Anderson did that such beautifully. Which this year he released Inherent Vice, which was another personal favorite of mine. I was completely understood why it didn't get nominated for Best Picture because it is a extremely intentionally confusing film in a lot of ways, and I definitely can understand why it flew over a lot of voters' heads. Glad to see it did get nominated for, I think, screenplay, production design. I can't remember if it got nominated for editing or not, but I don't know. But anyways, it was cool that what it did get nominated for. But yeah, that was the one that everyone should go check out who's listening if you haven't seen it already. I think its quality is just as good as any other films nominated for Best Picture. Definitely check it out.
Dude, I'm I think that's great. That's the wrap for the Oscar ballot, man.
Yes,
I really do
sir.
believe it is going to be a great time. I do. I think it's going to be really interesting. I hope the production's right. It's been shitty sometimes for me because.
Okay, we talk about Whiplash real quick though. That's the one thing.
Oh yeah, dude. No,
that is the one thing.
Whiplash. We haven't had a chance to
because you and me seeing that, we saw it with Alec and Jen, and that was such an experience.
Yes, it was.
Man.
Being just a fan of music in general, you know, just watching that movie and watching Your Determination, or talk about Obsession, or talk about like just wanting something so bad, and then everything else that gets in your way, and wanting to just
what it takes to be a great artist.
Yeah, and just seeing if you're getting pushed and pushed and pushed. You don't know. You just don't. You can't plan. There's no real plan because you don't know what that push is going to do and how you're going to react. And with the way it's shot and the performances from everybody, God, what Paul Reiser?
Yes, man, yes.
Just like, dude,
and
I never gave a shit about Mad
yeah.
About You. I didn't care. I wasn't a big Paul Reiser fan. I mean,
he played that dad
when I saw that trailer and
complete
see his face turn
yeah.
around, I'm like, oh, it's his dad? Oh, all right. And he did a great job, man. He was
complete
really
antithesis of J.K. Simmons' character. It was amazing what he did with that. And Miles Teller coming up, man. Like, seriously, one of my new favorite young actors on the rise. He's been in some really, like, I guess you would say questionable commercial films, but he's always delivered in all of them. Spectacular Now was amazing. He really came up in this one, and I think he's definitely someone to watch. And I guarantee you he will be back in some capacity in one of these like supporting actor categories.
And J.K. Simmons, you said it beautifully earlier, man. The dude knows how to like instill fear and make you hate him, and like and stuff. Just in how he speaks alone. Thank You for Smoking was like an amazingly quirky dark comedy with that, and his role in that was awesome.
And he was standing out in Juno too. I mean, as much as I like deride that film, he was great in that, and. You know, the Spider-Mans as well.
And as I posted on your page, he is the voice of the yellow M&M.
Yes, which makes a lot of sense.
And you know, you really put into it, like his dynamics for that, and it's just how he really captured the M&M.
The essence of.
We should end there. The essence of the M&M. He was brilliant in it, man, and it was great to see how fierce he was, and we haven't seen a performance like that from him in a second. So just everything around it, the trailer alone was beautiful, well done, and you said it really well. There was so much more to the movie besides that as well, and I think the trailer delivers that and makes you want to go in to see it. Then you go in and see it, and like you said, when we walked outside, man, we were just hyped and just going about it, and I really think it is a great film. Sadly, I still just didn't feel like it did bring what Boyhood did.
Oh,
on
yeah.
the level of it being a great movie, easily up there.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
February 18th is the Oscars. I think we might even, maybe next podcast, if you want to come back, we could do like a little quick wrap up. And
that sounds
talk about
amazing.
How it is with the actual winners, and discuss what people were wearing and see what we liked.
Yes, sir. The best part about it,
and
right?
all that. In rapping, dude, for you, what's going on right now? Give everybody just an idea of how to get a hold of you if they want to do anything.
We kind of skipped over like.
Oh yes, please.
Kind of what you do around here, like video wise, like with your live videos and stuff. But I know you're trying to get into more like doing music videos and things like that for bands. Am I correct?
You're trying to do a little bit more film too, right?
Yeah,
more or less, because I mean you're killing videos and live shows right now.
Thank you,
all around,
appreciate
man,
it.
without a doubt.
Sure.
Like
Thank
you go
you
on
very
Facebook,
much. Yeah, I do.
they're there.
If go on YouTube and subscribe to Amplifier's YouTube channel, I feel like that's really important because
man,
there is already like I don't know, there might even be like 30 videos up.
Close to 50.
Okay,
Yeah,
50, awesome.
mark.
There's like 50 videos on there, and there needs to be more subscribers for sure.
Yes,
they're just great quality intimate live videos.
It's just a testament to the talent around here. I feel so blessed to be in this community, and I mean, there's so many amazing bands across so many genres in this town, man. I mean, or just in North Carolina in general. I mean, you have everything from Someday Rumble to Dwell, Future Primitive, to Daddy Issues, to Dildo of God, Born Hollow. I mean, geez, man, there's just so much going on around here, and like, it's great to be a part of the scene and see what all is going on and help to contribute to it. And yeah, man, I'm like you mentioned, I'm going to be trying to go cross over to music videos, I guess. Actually, February 28th, shooting Dwell's upcoming music video. And,
awesome.
Check it out on Facebook. We are, having an open invite, I guess, for extras. Invite everyone you know.
One of us might be helping you with that, I believe.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
one of us.
That might be the works. Yeah, we'll see.
But it's not Rob, so I don't know. I mean, and that's always fun. I mean, I miss getting to help you and do that shit because I love working with you, and I think it'll be a really fun time to see and also be a part of your first video. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, much appreciated. I'm like I said, continuing doing that. I've got a few freelance gigs here and there. I'm working on a documentary right now. Working on a script as well. Moving back to Greensboro in the last year and a half has really brought back my artistic experience and really remotivated me in a way that I had been lacking for a few years after undergrad. So, like I said, it's just been a pleasure being a part of all this, and it's really been the highlight so far in my artistic career. So, yeah, guys.
Do you have any plots or scripts or pilots that you can kind of maybe unveil to us? Anything that we could maybe see in the future?
Are you bringing Rob Schneider back? Are you going to give him the just he needs?
Jeez, man, how did you guess?
I know, man.
I've been trying to keep him under wraps.
I mean, come on, man. It's just...
You can't really hide
Rob
the
Schneider
Rob Schneider
and Martin Lawrence. And that's all you need to know right there.
Tell some stuff, man. Lee, anything cool you got trying to go on that you want to give us a little insight? I mean, spring's coming up, man. You talked about earlier. It pumps you up. It gets you going. The beautiful weather, the rebirth, the revitalizing. What are you working on? What are you trying to do?
Or are we just putting you on the spot right now?
Tell us stuff about what you're doing.
Well, just working on a few scripts, They got the Nickel Screenwriting Fellowship coming up, which I entered in a few years back and did pretty well, but didn't quite get to the level of the finalists to get that fellowship. I'm going to be aiming for it again. I'm actually working with Kevin Putnam as well on a script.
Nice.
Some of y'all may know him around here from Greensboro.
Local boy. Kevin Putnam's actually from
New York.
Yeah, upstate New York.
And
I used to live up there for for a period of time, for about like a year or so, and then I moved back down here and just randomly met him, and we really started being like, oh, you're from there, oh, you're from there, oh, like, oh, you know this person, you know this person. So at two different time periods in our life, like, we were hanging out with the same people, and we kind of just like both live in Greensboro now, so yeah, that's cool. Small world. Love you, Kevin.
No doubt.
If people want to get in touch with you, man, or hit you up about projects or anything like that, or if people want to grab a beer with you, where do you hang out at? Where can someone walk up to you and be like, ooh, is that Will? Is that Will Jones?
Well, I do stay pretty busy, and I guess at various parts in Greensboro. I can't really say that in one place in particular, but if you do want to get in contact with me, hit me up on Facebook or just drop me a line at whjones@uncg.edu. Or at hackneyjfilms@gmail.com. And I'd love to hear from you guys. And like I said, it's been a great environment. There's so much talent. I mean, with you guys, with Bear, and I mean, even like Hot Basic as well. I can list bands off all night, dude. There's just so much.
It's a great melting pot in Greensboro.
It is.
Sure.
It is, man.
A lot of people want to talk about, I think, like, California or New York, even like these big places that everyone thinks that's the place you got to go for good music. Like,
I think it's changing, man.
Yeah, I will give my testimony that is just bullshit. Like, I've been up and down the East Coast to the big cities, and that it does not, like, being in a big city does not mean like the level of musicianship is any higher. In my opinion, it's the level of musicianship and how serious musicians take their craft down here, where we are, is just on another level of anywhere else I've found. Like, there are better musicians here than any big city I've ever been around. I really feel like, because they're guys just in the woodwork practicing their craft. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I think that's what we get here is a good melting pot of those type people. And so when they do break out and they do hit the stage, like, it's something more beautiful than those places where people are quick to just put something together and throw it out into the public's view. So
yeah,
exactly, yeah.
So yeah, that's my opinion on it. I mean, I have a personal love for music from North Carolina. I've just always...
You're the only one, man. Only person. I'm so glad you're here today to tell us about your love.
All right, thanks, guys.
If you have love, please contact us at the Concerned Citizen Podcast at gmail.com.
Include pictures.
Include photos. We're gonna be back next week, guys, with a whole new ball game and a lot more fun. Like I said, we did mention our email. Please write to us if you want us to talk about shows, anything going on, ideas for the show. If you don't want to hear us talk about this anymore,
hate mail.
Yeah, hate mail is awesome. Send nudes with hate mail, though.
Yeah,
it just makes it a lot more fun for us.
It's like a compliment sandwich.
It doesn't even need to be you. Like, I mean, there's tons of pictures you can find on Google. Just send us a funny photo and say it's you and talk shit, and we'll probably read it on the air. You know,
we will probably be doing nothing better at that point in our lives.
Probably not. You'll probably hit us right at the moment when nothing at all is going on. So, Will, dude, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you
and,
guys. Seriously, you guys do a phenomenal job.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
thanks for listening to the podcast, guys. Check out the Oscars. Good year for film. 2015 should hopefully fucking do some just as well and keep it going. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace out. Take it easy.